Good afternoon, Razorback Nation. We're back here for our Selection Sunday Spectacular edition of your Razor Recap. And we are brought to you by our friends over at Razor Pigs. Looking good and never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, tailgate, and everywhere in between. From high-quality polos to head-turn hats, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Found it right here at home and now run by a Razorback-loving family. Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool. So go hog wild and shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us. And our friends over at Scarlet Letter, Arkansas's very own handcrafted spike seltzer. Check them out today. And if you are in Northwest Arkansas, check out the Core Brewery Tap Room where you can get Scarlet Letter and all of its various flavors. Selection Sunday, end of champ week. Man, what a great weekend for Arkansas sports in general. But hey, Arkansas is your 2026 SEC tournament champions. How are we feeling today, boys?
Feeling great. So, just ready to see this bracket and where we land. But hey, it was a fun weekend. So definitely good streak. Wish we had maybe played the 1 or 2 team in the conference. Maybe that would have boosted us up even another seed number, but can't complain too much. So came out the win on the conference tournament. So pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we hadn't won in 26 years.
2000, yeah.
I was 10 years old, so not really something that I probably cared about back then. This is I don't want to say once in a lifetime now that Calipari's here, but yeah, when you got a chance to win it, go win it. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, 100%. And so Selection Sunday is just under 5 minutes from getting underway, where we'll start seeing all the seedings go down, where Arkansas is going to land in the bracket, what region we're going to be in. They showed just before we jumped on the projected number 1 seeds being Duke, Arizona, Florida, and who was the 4th one?
Michigan,
yes. As your top 4 seeds. So, I said, I was telling Hobbs before you jumped on, Zane, and one of those doesn't seem to be like the others, but we're just going to leave that as is. So,
me and Trans, What do you mean we're you babies? Are you saying we're just young or what?
Yes.
Okay. Thought it was because I was still complaining about stuff, but hey, whatever.
Transplant
Transplant, he actually has us now as a 4 seed. He has us as the next to last 4 seed, Vandy the last 4 seed, and has actually moved St. John's back to the 5, even though they won the Big East.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say, and that's honestly weird for me to think to see Vandy bumped up to still a 4, but you bump St. John's down, who just won their conference.
Vandy also had the win over Florida, which really helped move them into the 4.
That is true.
So
yeah, great game today. We'll briefly, talk about that while we get ready for Selection Sunday. So, Arkansas comes into this game. I think they actually had Vanderbilt favored in this game going in, which was a little surprising to me. I know it's 3-4 matchup, and I guess just based off of how they were playing and everything. But
again, they had just knocked off Florida, whereas we knocked off 15 Ole Miss in overtime. So
right.
I get it, but
right, I get that. But at the end of the day, Arkansas comes in and does its thing. Darius Acuff, tournament MVP for a reason. Just comes out again. His games. You can tell he's much more healthier now after sitting out the Missouri game, getting the rest all up until we played on Friday. He comes out, gives you 30 points, 5 of 8 from the 3-point line, 9 of 20 from the field overall, 7 of 8 from the line, 3 total rebounds, 11 assists, and he just came out and even when he doesn't start the game well, you look up and at the end of the day, he still puts up a spectacular stat line.
Yeah, it's one of those. If you want to look at the SEC tournament as a whole, it was 3 games. You're talking 30.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 7.7 assists. Now, his turnovers were higher. They were 3.7. But again, you run into that situation where you have desperate teams. They're going to be pressing a lot more. They're going to be a little bit more antsy, and the refs aren't going to call every little thing. But 43.5 from the floor. He was 27 of 62. 50% from three. He was 12 of 24 over 3 games. So fantastic amount even over 3 games. He was pretty much averaging 4 of 8 over 3 games.
Right.
Free throw was 86%, 25 of 29. A lot of those were clutch time free throws as well.
Well, and I was going to say one thing too that the stats sheet doesn't show you that you had to kind of watch the games to see is just some of the clutch shots he hit. You know, thinking back to
the one where he
Oklahoma game,
shoved, fading out of bounds, hit that 3. It's like, okay, what do you do in that situation?
I was about to say, you have that shot. You have the inbounds against Oklahoma, and then, you know, just several clutch shots today. He just, you know, step back, pull up 3 like it's nothing. And I to your point,
it's the way he holds himself. He's calm, cool, and collected. He never gets, you know, the moment's not too big for him. He doesn't let those emotions take over. And it's just, hey, it's put your head down and go to work. And it's great to see. Love to see that.
Yeah.
So,
and then, you know, another big shout out, Brazil, 16 points on the day, you know, had some clutch 3-point shots today. He was 4 of 5 with 2 clutch daggers down the stretch late in this game. Finished, like I said, with 16 points, 6 of 9 total from the field, 4 of 5 from the 3-point line, gave you 9 total rebounds, 2 steals as well, and 2 blocks. So, you know, great play by Brazil, and it seems like he's kind of starting to peak at the right time. And then, hey, you know, no points necessarily, but shout out to Nick Pringle today. Look at him getting in there, getting boards and playing some decent defense today. That's what you need from him, especially right now with, you know, you're in the conference tournament. It's time for March Madness to begin, and, you know, love to see him playing at a higher level right now.
And some big rebounds, just some big, like, hey, you kind of have to go out and get that real fast. And, you know, he definitely showed up, even though he didn't score.
Yeah. And then Billy, hey, you can't say enough about Billy Richmond, Billy Goat, you know, the fight that he had and showed today. He playing through a busted lip, all the oops that he went up and got, and just battling through. Like,
yeah, got his lip busted and then caught a lob right afterwards.
Right, and that's what you need to see from him. This slight injury isn't going to phase me, so let me just come out and, you know, dunk it on you.
Does anybody know if we're getting on a plane or getting on a bus to come back home, or
we are watching it at Calipari's daughter's house in Nashville. She's a doctor at Vanderbilt.
That's what's up.
So,
yeah, so not traveling far as they were getting ready for Selection Sunday, and Selection Sunday is about to be underway. So
it doesn't look the same without, what is it, Vern Lundquist? Is that who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shocker here. Duke, the number 1 seed in the East region, and they will play in Greenville, South Carolina. They will take on Siena.
Okay.
The 16 seed.
You are way ahead of me. Good Lord. I'm like 30
same here.
That's fine. Go ahead.
The 8 seed in the East region is Ohio State.
Okay.
They might be taking
on TCU.
Yeah. That'll be a good one to watch. Ohio State TCU. I think TCU will pull that one off. Just kind of my immediate reaction.
Here you go. First 5 seed in that region, St. John's.
Okay. So they are a 5. So that means that should keep us as a 4, because I saw on Lenari's most recent bracketology was St. John's had slid to a 5. Us and Vandy are the 4 on his. So
the 12 seed taking on St. John's will be Northern Iowa.
Interesting.
It's an experienced team that might be able to make a little run. They got hot there at the end, but I think they were like 5th in their own conference tournament or something.
Yeah.
So
rounding out that East region, the 4 seed is Kansas.
Okay.
And they will be taking on Cal Baptist.
Okay.
Man,
so
we play a
ahead
team
of me
like
there.
Cal Baptist. Can we play Cal Methodist?
They
I
jumped
will
to the
say, hey, you know what? Kansas fans can be happy on that because we're not matched up with them. Because I don't know if you've seen
You know what?
a bunch of Kansas fans do not want to play us.
I see Kansas. Duke is obviously running through that, but I see Kansas getting to the Sweet 16 out of those.
Yeah. So they
I can
jump
see
down,
that.
jumping down to that lower half of the bracket, coming in at the 6th seed in the East region. You got Louisville. And
Okay.
they will be taking on the 11th seed South Florida Fighting Joseph Pinion.
Ooh.
I am very glad to see that because I've seen South Florida matched up with us a lot. I'm very glad to see South Florida not be matched up with us because seems like anytime you have a player play against their old school in the tournament, they always go off. So
Right.
very happy to see that.
The 3 seed Michigan State will be taking on the 14 seed North Dakota State.
Michigan
Now,
State.
obviously, I think Michigan State
easily
wins that. Well, I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. I think North Dakota State has enough of a post presence and enough size to be able to compete with Michigan State and make that difficult.
No.
I think that'll actually be a undervalued but intriguing 3-14 matchup. I don't see that being a double-digit big blowout win for them just because North Dakota State can slow the tempo down and use their bigs well.
Let's see. Coming in at the 7 seed, UCLA, and they will take on UCF at the 10 seed. And then towards the bottom, wrapping up the number 2 seed in the East region is UConn.
Interesting.
And they'll be taking on Furman.
Furman's another experienced team, but UConn should handle that easy.
Furman to the Final Four.
I'm not even going to try and make a storyline out of that one. I think UConn handles that easy. And I think UConn, Michigan State in that Sweet 16 matchup, that'll be a good matchup. I don't see either the 2 or the 3 really getting dethroned by that 7 or 6 team.
I like
could be wrong.
State and Duke in that Elite 8.
Yeah. So
I can see UConn just because Hurley in the postseason does things that Hurley does.
Yeah.
But if I had to guess, I'd say Michigan State.
At UCLA, UConn is an interesting second round game, though.
That is.
Yeah. Looking at, you could potentially have a Kansas St. John's second round.
Yeah. St. John's is just not a consistent team. I don't know. Neither is Kansas. So.
I was about to say Kansas isn't your typical Kansas either. Yeah. So they came in at the 4th seed. What is their? There was something along the lines of Kansas, and all the years they've been in the tournament, they've been no lower than like a 4 seed or something like that.
I gotta look into that and see.
Zane, do you think you like South Florida over Louisville? I'm thinking that might be
I do like that. Obviously, gotta run some numbers, watch some extra film on them and see, but immediate reaction, upsets in that region, I see South Florida over Louisville.
Yeah, I don't. So, that's the upset I'm kind of looking at in that bracket as well.
Yeah, that's one that I don't think that you're. Who was it? St. John's is playing the 5-12 there.
Northern Iowa.
I don't see St. John's losing to Northern Iowa.
You wouldn't think.
I don't see a 5-12 upset there, but again, could be wrong. I know Northern Iowa was a big popular pick 2 or 3 years ago as a 12 to upset, or maybe as a 13 even, but I don't see that happening this year. I see St. John's handling that. Patino's good and not getting upset by mid-majors. They tend to get upset. If Patino's going to lose as a lower seed, it's normally to another power conference team that's physical and big enough to compete with them. Example, Arkansas last year when St. John's was a 2, we were a 10. But yeah, you don't really see Rick Pitino losing to mid-majors too often in tournaments. So that's one thing kind of take note of that. I think he's fine. Now, if you had paired up St. John's with,
We do have a bracket. We will have one.
we'll have one, but I know, but we don't have one up here to show.
Oh,
If you had paired up St. John's with, say, your, I think if you include American and Mountain West in the quote big conferences, maybe not mid-major, make it 7 big conferences. If you go South Florida and St. John's, I'd like South Florida there. But yeah, I don't see a mid-major school like Northern Iowa knocking off St. John's just with Pitino's reputation.
Yeah.
But while we have a minute-long break, anything else y'all want to talk about in particular to the basketball games this weekend with Arkansas?
nope.
No, I mean, I just want to see us be able to continue that momentum into, where we land. It's just, it seems like things are, clicking on all cylinders, coming through, winning these 3 games in 3 days. And, it's like we talked about Zane last week. It was like, if you do happen to, win your first game, why not just go and try to win it all? And, that's what Arkansas did. And hopefully to Arkansas' benefit, it'll, bump us up off that 5 seed line, get us to a 4, and see where we land. Glad you could find a transplant text. And he said, okay, found the bracket online via NCAA. I'm good now.
Yeah. You going to make the tournament bracket thing after the show?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to definitely join because I'm off tomorrow. Give me a chance to kind of run through my bracket.
Man, lucky man.
Yeah.
Zane, one of these days, Hobbs too, will have to just plan a big March Madness weekend. I've seen all these videos of people putting a projector in their house and putting the blue painter's tape in the form of a bracket and just building a bracket wall.
I'm
That'd
down.
be pretty cool. I'm off Thursday and Friday. I took the whole I only work Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So
okay, we're over to the West region.
Man,
the number
Arizona's
1 seed.
nice and sunny out there. I wish it was like that here.
Yep. Where Arizona in the West region, number 1 seed, they will be taking on LIU as the 16 seed.
who is that?
Long Island University.
Well, they're going to lose by 70.
The
Most likely.
8-9 matchup in the West region will be Villanova versus Utah State.
Ooh. I might pick Utah State in that one. I'm not sure yet.
Those 2 games will be in San Diego. The 5-12 and 4-13 games will be in Portland.
Probably
So
going
the
to
5
send us
seed,
out there.
5 seed coming in the West region is Wisconsin, and they will be taking on High Point at the 12 seed.
Now, watch for High Point. They are very old, not old, but High Point runs a 9-man rotation, and that is the one team I have been very focused in on not wanting to play against. 9-man rotation consists of 1 sophomore, 1 junior, and then 7 seniors. So I could see High Point causing some trouble for some teams just because they don't get rattled in the moment having that many seniors.
And Arkansas will be the 4 seed in the West region.
Really?
And we will take on 13 seed Hawaii.
Really?
I'm okay with that.
And we'll be playing in Portland, Oregon.
And we'll play,
Don't love that, but
interesting. Well, I could definitely
you know what? We're not matched up with Duke, not matched up with Florida. I'm happy with that. I will take Arizona as the 1 seed to get matched up with.
Coming in as the 6 seed BYU, They'll take on
Texas
the winner
and NC State
of the first playing game, Texas versus NC State. So you have Texas as one of the playing games. The 3 seed, your Gonzaga Bulldogs. I agree with this transplant Texan. He said 4 seed, and they stuck us in Oregon. Really?
Hey, you know what? Whatever. It's fine. I'll take playing in Portland as long as it means you're not paired up with Duke or Florida in the Sweet 16.
Right.
Let me avoid those two
Gonzaga-
teams as long as I can.
Yep. Gonzaga will take on Kennesaw State at the 14 seed. Jumping down, Miami will be your 7 seed, taking on Missouri as a 10 seed.
Okay.
So Missouri got in.
And Missouri will be playing in St. Louis.
That's some BS.
Hey, you know what? Upsets. Let them play Miami, and hey, let them knock off Purdue. I'll take that.
You want Missouri to win? No. Absolutely.
No, but I don't like Purdue either.
Coming in as the 2 seed in that region is Purdue, and they will be playing a familiar team Arkansas has seen, Queens.
Queens is actually not a horrible team. I think matchup-wise, Queens has one post that's not horrible, but they shoot a lot of threes, and they actually score very efficiently. So I think Purdue's going to try to slow them down, and that's normally how you spell upsets is you try to slow down an up-tempo offense for the mid-major, and they're able to score like crazy. So
let all the upsets happen in this region. I'll take all the upsets we can take in this region.
Yeah. Not us,
And
but all the others.
Play on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. So we play
on the
Thursday.
bright side, Wisconsin and High Point, neither one are close.
So we're not going to be playing the early game because we're in Portland, Oregon. So we'll be playing
a late game.
Yeah, we'll be playing a late game Thursday night.
Yeah, for sure.
So be prepared for an update on the timing of the show on Thursday.
Yeah.
Ending. We'll have to see.
Well, so transplant. So the thing is, because we're one of the last 4 seeds in probably, that you have your locations for your 4 and 5s matchups. So the higher 4 seeds probably were closer to us or closer to where they're playing as opposed to us. It is supposed to be preferential, but it's one of those, hey, your top 4 seed is going to be closer. And then, like, your top 4 seed gets the closest available. Your second 4 seed gets the next closest to them. Third gets the next, and so on and so forth. So with us being the third or fourth 4 seed, we're kind of between probably 1 or 2 locations. So, and honestly, we might have been the last 4 seed and might have just been the farthest, just the last one left. I don't know.
Fair. So while we have a quick break in between, let's take a quick look into the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors as they are finished the season at 24-8, second in the Big West. Quickly looking at the team, obviously we'll dive in more to it in a little bit, but quickly looking
I don't have as much in-depth stats on them right now. So Thursday we'll be playing them, but transplant, I think we have a better path. Mizzou, the only reason it would even be a conversation is just because of location, but they do have to play a 2 seed. So, I think Mizzou worked out okay to where they have the ability to make Sweet 16 just because of favorable home court, but they have a lot tougher matchup than we do. So
quickly looking at the stats on Hawaii. So they have 3 guys in double figures in points per game. Their leading scorer with 14.1 points per game is Isaac Johnson, their center. He's 7 foot 240. Averages 5.8 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, shoots 50% from the field. 88% from the line, and 31% from 3-point line.
Okay, so right off the top of my head, that's a carry build from Tennessee. That's the kind of build I don't like. I would be a lot more comfortable if he was 7 foot 215 or 220. So it sounds like he might be a little bit more of one of those bruiser type players down low.
And here's the thing too. This is going to be an interesting matchup for us. 4 of their top 5 scorers are all forwards or a center.
Okay, so that guy's 7 foot. What are their other big guys though? Like, are they like the 6'6", 6'7" forwards?
They got a guy 6'9", 230.
Okay.
6'8", 220.
Okay.
And 6'8", 185.
Okay, so 6'8", 185. That guy's going to be more of probably your true wing. Kind of more probably Billy guarding him, I would say. 7 foot guy's going to be Pringle and Ewan, but he's definitely their biggest body, probably more of a true post-up guy. But shooting 31% from 3, he's going to be able to stretch the defense a little bit. So I would say having Pringle, Ewan guard him, that might be really big for getting Brazil on that help side block ability. Because he might have to kind of hang out down the paint some if that guy's pulling our big guy out of the paint.
Yeah.
And so if I had to guess, I haven't really watched them at all. But my first immediate reaction is watch for them to spread him out and try to get Ewan or Pringle out of the paint and then drive. So that's going to be big on help defense, keeping your eye on the ball and keeping on the paint. Can't give them easy layups. But
their guard is a senior, 6'6", 190. He averages 13.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 1.7 steals. He shoots 42% from the field, 77 from the line, and 26 from deep.
Okay, so I'm fine backing off of him some, letting him shoot. He is a senior, but he's a big guard. So we might actually be at somewhat of a height disadvantage for a good part of the game there, which I do not love. But definitely think we're going to be more athletic than them.
I was about to say, you look at if you just look at their schedule quickly, their strength of schedule can't be super high. They, as far as in terms of caliber, kind of like how Arkansas played a lot of high caliber seeds or high caliber opponents, non-conference and conference. Their one big opponent was to start the season. They played Oregon and lost that one. So
how bad did they lose at Oregon?
60-59.
Okay.
So
but I mean, look at their conference. It was UC Irvine, UC Santa Barbara, some of those teams I feel like. So definitely not as battle tested, especially that being their non-conference kind of big games. So it'll be interesting to see though, for sure. But, I think there's probably an easier matchup we could have had? Maybe, seeing their roster size, but I think we should be able to at least kind of take in stride and be able to. I'm not too worried about it.
Right.
But hey, it's March. You never know what happens.
I was about to say, I feel good with our athleticism. You got these bigs, but if you can kind of wear them down, that's where I think Arkansas has a good edge. But as we jump back to the Midwest region, your number 1 seed in the Midwest, Michigan, they'll play the 16 seed, who will be a play-in game between UMBC and Howard. Coming in at the 8 seed, you've got Georgia. They will take on 9 seed St. Louis. Your 5 seed Texas Tech taking on your 12 seed Akron. In that region, your 4 seed is Alabama, and they will take on 13 seed Hofstra. So you could see an Alabama-Georgia matchup pretty quickly here in the NCAA tournament. So
Alabama-Georgia.
Well, sorry. I thought the seeds were flipped. Never mind. You probably will not see that.
Yeah, probably not.
Coming in the 6th seed in the Midwest region, Tennessee. So you now have 3 SEC teams on this Midwest region.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Tennessee will be taking on Miami of Ohio.
Miami, Ohio is going to get
or SMU. That's a play-in game.
Or SMU, yes. popped up the screen of Miami, Ohio before I could see it was a
Okay,
play.
so Tennessee's
Okay.
playing SMU. Okay. So, yeah. They didn't deserve to be in either. So
The 3 seed in the Midwest region will be Virginia. And in the 14th slot, they will be taking on Wright State. Familiar
Okay.
with them. We've played them in baseball many a times. Kentucky gets slated in as a 7 seed. So that is,
In
and they'll be
Missouri?
taking on
Darn.
10 seed
But they're in
Santa
St.
Clara.
Louis as well, man.
I'm starting to lean more towards what Transplant Texas says. There's some Arkansas bias here. All these SEC teams getting put in the Midwest region and places closer, and then Arkansas fans have to travel to Oregon.
And
Yeah.
how many flights you got to take to get out there from Fayetteville?
That's a good question.
Santa Clara.
They can play. They knocked off St. Mary's to make it to the championship in the West Coast, and they lost to Gonzaga, but they're not a bad team at all.
Number 2 seed in the Midwest region is Iowa State.
Iowa State's going to beat Kentucky.
And they will be taking on Tennessee State as the 15 seed.
Boy, that's an easy path for Iowa State.
I could see that.
Who was the 1 seed in this region again?
Michigan.
So they got a pretty easy bracket, in my opinion.
Now, real fast, the East, the very first one, who was the 4 seed there?
Kansas.
That's right.
Yes.
Man, that East bracket, you're looking at some blue bloods. You're 1 seed Duke, 2 seed UConn, 3 seed Michigan State, 4 seed Kansas. That is
Let's
some
see.
big name schools.
All right, to answer your question, Hobbs, and this is from an X&A perspective, you got one flight that goes to, you got a couple options. You got flights with I'm seeing 2 flights with layovers in Dallas and one with a layover in Denver. And those flights are all 7 hours.
Oh, my God.
You leave at 6 a.m., get to Dallas. You have an hour and 16-minute layover in Dallas. You leave Dallas at 8:50, and you get to Portland at 11. It's a 4-hour flight from Dallas to Portland.
That's miserable. So we're going, and not only is the team going to have to make a fly out there on what, Wednesday? They're just going to get back.
But they're going to be on a private jet, and they're going to be able to fly out there much faster than what these commercial planes fly. Round trip for one person, about $870.
Good Lord. But Wisconsin, they're really not that close to Oregon either.
No, they're not.
So it ain't like, and where would we be in the Sweet 16 is what's a good question.
If we're in the West, I believe it is San Jose, maybe.
California.
I think.
Let's see, Sweet 16.
Which
For
we've
the
been
West,
out,
I believe San Jose.
we've been out there in
Yes,
the league.
the West
before.
Regional is San Jose. At the
Problem
SAP.
is you have Arizona as the 1 seed there. So Arizona's pretty close there.
Yeah.
The Midwest Regional will be in Chicago. The East Regional is in D.C. And then the South Regional is in Houston.
Mm.
Oh, of course. They'll have Houston the 2 seed for the Houston Regional.
Right.
And Florida's about to be the number 1 seed in this last bracket. So
Yeah, in the South.
that leaves Vanderbilt as the 4 seed in this. So you're going to have.
Well, and here's what I'm interested to
Vanderbilt
see: is
matched up
Vandy a
again?
4 or is Vandy a 5?
Either way, they're going to be matched up with Florida again.
That's true, but at the same time, what I'm thinking is, if Vandy is a 5, then that tells me that we are most likely the last 4 seed, which would explain why we are so far.
Well, we're about to find out here in a minute.
Yeah, we will.
Who's on the bubble that ain't been announced yet?
Auburn, Oklahoma, Texas. No, Texas
Got
a
in.
play-in game. Oklahoma and Auburn are 2 of the big ones I've seen. Then I think, what was it? Was Syracuse? No, not Syracuse was mentioned as one. It's not been a good bubble. But with Miami, Ohio getting in, I would almost say you're not going to see Auburn with their 16 losses.
Probably not. They'll probably be the NIT.
Who ended up
Even though
winning
they're number 3 strength of schedule, I don't know. But
who ended up winning the conference tournament that Miami of Ohio got beat out? Who took that seeding?
Akron.
oh, that was
Was it Akron?
Yeah, they're playing.
Yeah, Akron got in. Because Akron, I have Akron circled over Texas Tech as a potential upset.
I don't know about that one.
Akron has 5 losses, and Christian Anderson for Texas Tech went down with an injury in their Big 12 tournament. If he's not 100%, they've already lost JT Toppin to a torn ACL this year. They came in with JT Toppin and Christian Anderson both averaging about 20, and that was their entire team was those 2. Now they're down to 1, and Christian Anderson hurt his knee. So if he's not 100%, it should be easy.
Side note, let's ban glass courts, please.
Yeah, I saw that they went back to a hardwood court for their Final Four.
All right, no shocker here. The number 1 seed in the South region is Florida. Their 16 seed matchup will be the winner of Prairie View A&M and Lehigh.
Lehigh, yeah.
The number 8 seed in that region will be the Clemson Tigers taking on 9 seed Iowa.
That's a toss-up.
The 5
Give me
seed
Clemson on that one.
5 seed in Oklahoma City, Vanderbilt.
Okay, so yeah, we're the last 4 seed.
And their 12 seed matchup will be McNeese. The 4 seed in the South region playing in Oklahoma City will be Nebraska. Oh, and to mention,
shocked.
The Florida, they're part of the bracket. Their initial games will be in Tampa, Florida, so they don't have to travel far either.
Nebraska was getting some talk even as a 3 seed for a while there, so it makes sense if you're looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I like
where
Florida
Kansas
and
was
Vanderbilt.
playing.
I like Florida and Vanderbilt to play each other again.
The 13 seed taking on Nebraska is Troy. Coming in at the 6th seed in that South region is North Carolina. And they'll be playing in Greenville, South Carolina. They'll be taking on 11 seed VCU. I was just telling you, Hobbs, I like the VCU Rams in some upset situations historically.
Especially with Caleb Wilson out for North Carolina with that thumb. So that's one to definitely circle.
Yeah, there's some interesting 11 and 6 games, that's for certain.
Your 3 seed in that South region is Illinois. They'll be taking on the 14th seed Ivy League champs, Penn.
Easy game for them. I'd be more concerned for Illinois if it was Yale, but Penn was able to pull that off in overtime, so not too worried there.
The bottom half of this bracket that will also be played in Oklahoma City, the 7 seed will be St. Mary's.
Okay.
and they will take on the 10 seed Texas A&M.
Ooh, that'll be an interesting matchup to see.
The 2 seed in the South region. This is probably not going to be a surprise. Houston.
Yep.
So they just have to head just a tad north for their first round game, and then first couple rounds, and they'll be taking on the 15 seed Idaho.
Yeah, I like Illinois to come out of there.
Oh, the top half of that, or those 8?
No, those 8. I like Illinois out of those.
I think it's tough. I think Illinois is a little bit better, but you got to remember, to win that lower 8, they'd have to face Houston, which means in Houston for the South region.
Yeah, well, they got really good guard play. I like that a lot. So we'll see. It'll be anybody's game.
Yeah, it'll be tough, but I got a feeling Houston wins that based on practically being a home game for them.
Yeah, maybe so.
There you have it. Your bracket is set.
Yeah, it's
Where
there.
is Kansas? Do you have it pulled up to where we can see where Kansas is playing?
Like what location?
Yeah.
Let's see. Kansas is in the East region. They're the 4 seed in the East region. They will be playing in let's see. They'll be playing in San Diego.
Okay.
So just looking at some initial data, jumping back to Arkansas's game here. Season team stats as a whole, Hawaii shot 46.5% from the field. Arkansas shot 50.2. 3-pointers on the season. Hawaii shot 31.3%. Arkansas shot 38.8%.
In the first 4 out, 2 of them were SEC, Oklahoma and Auburn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, I know people hate Lenardi a lot, but he got it pretty spot on.
Yeah. No, he's very good at what he does.
And then from the free throw line, 73.5% for Hawaii. Arkansas, 73.9%.
Miami, Ohio was the last team in the field.
Yeah, wow. And that's because they were undefeated regular season. I mean, you have to at least respect that, I feel like.
Let's see. As we look at the boards, so season stats for them average 39.8 boards, where Arkansas is 36.6. You break that down to offensive defense, 11.5 offensive boards for them, 28.4 defensive rebounds. Arkansas 10.9 offensive boards, 25.7 defensive. Assists 14 for them. Arkansas 17.1. Steals 6.8. Arkansas 7.3. Blocks. Arkansas 5.2. Hawaii 4.2. Turnovers 9.3 for Arkansas, 13.6 for them. So, they do tend to turn the ball over a little bit more. And fouls are about dead even. 17.6 for them, 17.2 for Arkansas. So,
very true, transplant. At least we're not spying it out, worrying about one of the last teams called.
Exactly.
No, we're solely in there, and I think we got a great draw to get to the Sweet 16.
So if I had to guess, I would say that the 4 seeds ranking was 1 Nebraska, 2 Bama, 3 Kansas, and 4 Arkansas. Because if you look, Nebraska's playing in Oklahoma City. That's the closest, I think. And then Bama gets Tampa. And then you had your 2 West games with 2 non-West teams. Kansas going to San Diego, Arkansas going to Portland. So, you know, I think that looking at that where they try to kind of prioritize, hey, you know, your higher 4 seeds get the first pick. I think that's where Nebraska got Oklahoma City being the number 1-4. And that makes sense because they were being mentioned as a 3 seed by some teams or by some people. So
I just like that we're in Portland, honestly, because we're not going to miss the baseball game Saturday. So there's no way we'll be playing basketball at 12 o'clock on Saturday if we're in Portland. So that works out.
They're not going to
Oh, never mind.
in local time.
Never mind. The baseball game's at 3 o'clock Saturday. So, but I still think we're going to probably have a late game.
So that means if we look at this now too, so we will match up with either Wisconsin or High Point in the second round.
Give me either one.
Let's see.
Okay, so my first reaction upsets. You're looking in the, I think, east up here. I think South Florida.
Yeah.
Over Louisville.
South Florida over Louisville. Okay.
I think that's one I'm fairly confident in. I think North Dakota State plays Michigan State close, but Michigan State will still win that. Moving down to the south.
Give me VCU over North Carolina. I like that.
I like VCU. I also really like Troy and Nebraska there.
Okay. No McNeese over Vandy?
No, I think now if Will Wade was still at McNeese, yeah. But I think Vandy and what they've shown this weekend, I think they're going to be able to handle McNeese. But, you know, those so far there. And then over in whichever one's the bottom right, I'm drawing a blank. But I think Akron over Texas Tech I really like as well.
To answer your question, Transplant Texan, yes. 116.89 in our region is in San Diego, the 512, and our matchup is in Portland. Bottom of the West, see Transplant Texas said bottom of the West bracket, 6 play-in and 3-14 are in Portland, but Mizzou and the 215 are in St. Louis. Yes. So the 215, which is Purdue Queens, is in St. Louis, as well as the 710, which is Missouri and Miami. And then to your point, the BYU, the 6 play-in game, and 3-14 Gonzaga, Kennesaw will be in Portland as well.
So I got 6 potential upsets I'm really kind of starring, keeping an eye on right now. I'm only looking at 11 and up. 10 seeds versus 7s. I don't really classify those too much as a, quote, upset. But I got USF over Louisville, VC over North Carolina. I do think Troy over Nebraska, Akron over Texas Tech, High Point over Wisconsin. I go out on a limb on this one and say Wright State over Virginia, even though Virginia is a 3. Virginia's style of play, where you slow it down, it's minimal possessions. They rely on slow half-court offenses, Virginia over the last 10 years has also been like your building block upset team just because they are so slow paced. If it gets into a shootout, I don't know if they can keep up. They're not used to scoring a whole lot of points. They're not used to fast paced tempos. I think that's going to be Virginia's weakness. And that's one of those where I don't exactly love that slow paced game just because you run into a mid major that knows how to score and move the ball quick. You can run into some problems there and be expected to score maybe 20 points more than what you average.
Right.
So I can see Wright State pulling that off as well.
Yeah.
So those are my 6 upsets, at least immediate reaction looking at it. That's my thoughts right now.
Yeah. So if we look at that Wisconsin High Point matchup, the 5-12 there between the two teams, Wisconsin shot 44.9% on the season from the field. High Point shot 48.8%. From the three-point line, High Point shot 35.5%. Wisconsin shot 36%. From the free throw line, 78.4% for Wisconsin, 74.1% for High Point. Rebounds, 36.7% for High Point, 35.4% for Wisconsin. If you break those down to offensive, defensive, 11.9 offensive boards for High Point, 10.5 for Wisconsin. Defensively, 24.8 rebounds for High Point, 24.9 for Wisconsin. Assists, 16.4 for High Point, 15.9 for Wisconsin. On steals, 5.8 for Wisconsin, 10.9 for High Point. So they tend to turn their opponents over.
That's one thing.
Amount.
Yeah. So looking at the stats, now, Grant, I haven't gone into the rankings. Oh, like they ranked this on each stat because there were still games played today. Tomorrow, all those stats will be updated. I'll have all that. But the thing for High Point that really stands out for me, 86.5 points per game they can score. But also their effective field goal percentage is 54.7, which is it's pretty good up there. But they do force a lot of turnovers, a lot of steals. They average 10.4 steals per game. It's not even just forced turnovers. Like they are very much in your grill, messing with you. They have a very good assist to turnover ratio, 1.637. That's up there in college basketball. But then also they only allow 71.8. So it's not like they're Alabama who's going to average 80, 85 plus points and allow 82. Like they're also able to kind of stifle opposing defenses.
Right.
And kind of like I mentioned whenever it was announced, their rotation piece is 7 seniors, a junior, and a sophomore. Like, if you're looking at their weighted class average, which is something I do look at for a lot of potential upsets, 3.667, that's the highest of any team that I'm seeing right now. Granted, I'm still missing about 20 teams I haven't done the research on yet, but that's the most seasoned, experienced roster from what I've seen so far. And I think that especially playing a slower paced Virginia team that likes to try to force you into turnovers, I think a lot of seniors go up against that is going to be very beneficial for High Point because they'll be able to know, hey, you know, when they're pressing like this or when this is going on, they have enough experience and at least enough maturity, typically speaking, to not fall into those mental errors, mental mistakes you see a bunch of freshmen make. It's the same reason I don't love a whole bunch of super freshman heavy rosters to make a deep run. They should win a few games, but once this pressure starts getting to them or they see something they're not used to seeing, they tend to struggle a little bit at first. But yeah, really, really like High Point over Wisconsin just based off of that.
I was about to say, yeah, quickly looking at their roster, you know, kind of same boat we were talking about with Hawaii. Out of their top 5 scorers, 3 are forwards, bigs. And they weigh in at, well, they classify him as a forward, but he's 6'6", 202, so not really.
Wing.
Yeah.
Small forward.
Yeah, small forward.
Yeah.
6'7", 220, and
No.
6'8",
Hobbs, we're too old for that.
6'8", 230.
Transplant might have called us babies, but we're too old for that trend, okay? Don't even try that. Don't even start that.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Their leading guard is senior 5'10", 170.
So, yeah, that's going to be – now, obviously, generally speaking, 5'10" point guard, don't really love that. But
hey, that's my height. So
okay, well, hang on. Let me rephrase this. In Division I college basketball, that's a little bit undersized. But it does add up over the game because guess what? Your dribbles are a lot less shorter until you have your hand on the ball. You have a lot more control. Obviously, that's looking at, if you want to get technical with it, nitpick things. But normally, generically speaking, your shorter guards have a little bit more burst in their step and are able to kind of change directions quicker. And that's going to come in really handy if you start getting pressed or zoned or someone comes at you with a trap. So that's one where your longer guards are typically not as good at that just because they bounce the ball down and they have to react. And then it's just that extra half second. The ball's not under your control. That's when the defense can jump and get to you. But being a 5'10" guard, he's going to be pretty quick with the ball, if I had to guess. So look for him to probably have minimal turnovers and be very just good at dribbling out of traps and all that. So it'll be interesting there to say for sure.
So I know we mentioned it a while ago, thinking about travel schedules. So we're looking at it this way. So Arkansas has played today, Sunday, has to fly cross country to Portland, Oregon, and play on Thursday. If they advance to the next weekend, fly back to the West Coast for the second weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be, they're probably flying back now. They're probably heading to the airport to fly back here. Get in tonight.
Do some laundry.
Well, yeah.
The trainers
laundry,
do laundry.
Maybe some, ice baths and whatnot Monday. If I had to guess, they're going to probably leave out Tuesday afternoon, maybe Tuesday evening. Give you a full day and a half or so to kind of acclimate to the time change and, have all day Wednesday to do a walkthrough practice. And then Thursday, just kind of take it easy, stay off your feet.
I wonder when they come out with the times and stuff.
Transplant, the second weekend games, I believe, are in San Jose.
Yes.
I believe so. You got weather alerts? Are you Central Arkansas? Because are our weather alerts past us, Caleb?
No, I believe ours are still in effect technically through, I want to say 9 o'clock.
Well, in that case, I've been a very bad dad because I have not been keep up with the weather the last couple hours then.
Well, as of now, the only one I see right now is a wind advisory.
It's fine, man. That's fine.
I know there was just don't let her go outside and get blown away.
No, she's fine. The window's open. I don't want to deal with you. Okay, here, you can go back now.
Yeah, so I think we're all past the tornado watch and whatnot. So
okay, cool. Man, you see JC, his final bracketology? He sent his final bracketology about an hour ago. He got all 68 teams in the field right. 56 teams were correctly seeded. 12 teams were off by 1 seed line. 0 off by 2 or more. It's pretty solid.
Who is that?
JC Hoops.
Really?
Jesse Collier. He's big with Arkansas basketball.
That's good.
You got a lot of respect for that dude. He's pretty solid what he does. So.
Okay. The group is now created for the bracket challenge. Okay. It is the title is called 2026 Hogs on the Hill Bracket Challenge. The password to get in is HOTH 2026.
Can you send that?
What?
Or do I just have to search it?
I can probably send it to you.
Oh, never mind. I got it. I got you. And one more time, for everyone that wasn't paying attention, what's the password again?
Capital HOTH 2026.
All 4 letters capitalized?
Yes.
HOTH 2026.
Yes.
Hey, there's no point in filling out a bracket, Hobbs. I'm going to beat you anyways.
Hogs on the Hill bracket challenge.
Yep.
HOTH 2026.
Are you having some technical difficulties?
I am having technical difficulties, apparently.
Where's the
Transplant, you are not wrong.
I 100% agree. The selection committee does not want Hog fans to see Aka finish his college career in person. They've made this as difficult as possible for Hog fans to travel. I agree. As we established, the quickest flight from X and A anyway is a 7-hour flight with a layover in Dallas or potentially Denver.
Okay, it says I'm the only one in here.
No, you're not. Don't worry. I'm filling out a bracket right now as we speak.
No, I joined. It said to rejoin the old bracket from last year. Yeah, I'm not in the wrong one.
You mean in the right one?
Yeah, in the right one. Groups. Okay, yeah. I joined last year for some reason.
My yearly downloading the tournament app.
I did that last week to prepare ahead of time.
All right, I'm gonna invite all kind of folks in here.
Oh boy.
Transplant Texan said those busters, they said, will give you that 4 seed you want, but you'll pay dearly for it.
So how mad are y'all that I have Arkansas losing the national championship to Florida?
I'm not mad because I don't think we're getting anywhere close to it.
I can't
I will
believe
say,
you.
I do not mind having Arizona. Of the 4-1 seeds, that's the one that I am like, we match up well with. Better than the other 3.
Transplant said he's salty.
Fair enough, Transplant. Hey, you know what? Probably deserved it. So, but yeah, no, look for, I don't know if any of y'all see whatever I do on Twitter. A lot of people don't, but I'll be running some numbers and all that jazz and trying to come up. I've kind of developed a little bit of a formula over the last 3 years to predict some upsets. So I've gotten, if you're looking at 11 to 16 upsets, I've got all but 2 over the last 3 years. So I've correctly predicted all but 2 of them on that. So I'll try to run some numbers on that and give you kind of what the formula says the upsets will be. And it's probably going to be very off of what I'm saying on my first reaction ones. And yeah, Anthony, I'm fine facing Wisconsin. Arizona, obviously we don't like facing Arizona, but of the 4-1 seeds, that's the team I do feel like we match up best with. So I'm not as upset as I could be looking at that.
My question is, how many brackets do you fill out a year, Zane?
Normally I fill a solid 15 or 20, but You're also talking to a
15
guy who had 38 fantasy football leagues this past year. So
Yeah,
I was about to say, is it more or less than the number of fantasy football leagues you do?
it's less. But hey, you know what? I won 14 of my 38 fantasy football leagues last year, so can't complain about that.
Zane, you already filled out a bracket?
Yeah, just filled one out.
That's crazy.
It's his initial gut reaction bracket.
Yeah, it's my gut reaction. I'll have one. I will have a couple that are based on my numbers. I'll have a couple that are a little bit more analytically minded, and then I'll have a couple coin toss brackets. So there you go.
I'm going mostly chalk. So until we get to
Lame.
second round.
All right, just for everybody visually to see. Let me zoom in here.
Man, I was hoping you'd already have it pulled up.
Name of the bracket, password.
I think if you invite somebody, they don't have to join with the password, but I'm not sure.
Hey, can you invite and you just copy the link and you post it on this video?
I can also do that, and I can also post it on
Honestly, if you want to
the
just
social
invite
media
friends
page
and copy the link onto Twitter, just say, hey, we have a Hogs on the Hill bracket challenge. If you want, here's the link, here's password.
I'll do that. I'll be doing that as well. But so
Yeah,
now
also transplant. I got tired of listening to them talk about Tyler Tanner. I actually had the volume off for a hot minute. So yeah.
Okay, let me ask, what is the deal with that? Like,
so
they're fangirling over this kid, but they just don't mention anything about the SEC Player of the Year /
Do you
Freshman
want
of the
the
Year.
biased or the unbiased version of why?
Give me both.
Okay, so the biased version, hey, they hate Arkansas, whatever. Nashville
Bingo.
is where Vandy is, home court, whatever. They also just don't like to give us credit. Also, part of them might have thought, oh, he won SEC Player of the Year. We don't really need to talk anymore about him. The unbiased version, though, is a handful of games he's looked fantastic, but a handful of games he's also struggled a lot. He was being talked about in a top 10 draft pick possibility before they came and played us at Bud Walton. His performance that game was very bad, and he kind of dropped down to that late lottery, mid-second or mid-first round draft pick talk there. But he's kind of been going crazy since then, and I think primarily it's because of the growth he's had from last season, where he had some really good games, but primarily was just kind of inefficient and ineffective. But yeah, so a lot of it is how he's grown and developed, but also with him being a late lottery pick, they want to hype him up and talk about it because they already know national media is talking about ACUF. But also, it's just kind of annoying because Bilas obviously does not like us too much. And yes, transplant, there was a noticeable lowering in their vocal tone speaking on us. But also, it's one of those where it's very tough because I don't know if you saw the first few minutes of the game. They had, who is it, CAA or whoever. It's like a big sports rep management guy. He was there with a couple Vandy people, including their football head coach. He has Vanderbilt ties. So with being the age of NIL and kind of that, those agents are kind of the future, kind of like the guys who are doing all the conversing and deals with them. With him having Vandy ties, they're obviously going to favor Vandy in a lot of stuff. Also because they've been historically bad in everything but baseball. So now there has been kind of that resurgence of Vanderbilt sports the last couple of years. So it's more so that. Also, I think that, they just don't like primarily focusing on one person, aka ACUF. So they're trying to talk about other things the best they can. But I do think that there's a part of Bilas that just doesn't like Arkansas at all because there's been a handful of times where he's been on our games and made fairly bold predictions about how the game will play out, and Arkansas proves them wrong. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. But that's my two stances on it. Take it as you will. I could be way wrong, but that's just kind of how I
like
see
the
things
biased
with
version
it.
better.
Yeah, I like the biased version better as well. I
So,
do think if Tanner gets drafted in the lottery, he's going to struggle so much in the NBA. Because you saw that Duke Miles today as well. They are very big on flopping and trying to get those fouls called. So I don't think that'll translate too well.
So currently, right now, too, they have Arkansas favored as a 15.5-point favorite.
Yep, that's about right.
That's a good start.
When do you think we'll find out times being announced?
That should come out in the next probably hour and a half, if I had to guess.
Probably working on TV stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that should already been figured out anyway.
Should have been, yes. But,
you got to finalize everything.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay. So the link to the bracket challenge has been posted on Twitter. And I sent it to you guys so you can repost as well. So, and I did
perfect.
just in case for some reason it doesn't just let you auto join. I did attach the password as well. So,
sounds good. We appreciate that. So, also, since we haven't talked about it, Hobbs, how do you feel about that series win this weekend?
It's huge. It's huge, man.
Hey, whoa. Don't be too excited now, Hobbs.
Man, I thought you'd be more excited about that.
Well, I was excited yesterday. I didn't want to take too much away from the day since it's all about basketball.
Oh, no, you're good. Hey, it was a big weekend for Arkansas.
Appreciate that.
You had the big win with basketball. You also had track yesterday winning their 43rd overall national championship. Fantastic stuff there. Transplanted, still not dialed into baseball, but
as much as I hate to say it, I'm still not 100% dialed in, which is why when baseball comes up, I do tend to stay quiet. I don't know as much about baseball as these two guys. But B, it's still basketball season. That's kind of my primary focus, transplant. So you're not alone there.
Our team didn't feel that way because they needed to focus this weekend to take down number 3. So, yeah, it's an interesting time of the year when you got to have a baseball game and then basketball too at the same time. It's a lot.
It's so fantastic.
Well, if you were watching all these, it was nearly back to back to back. That's myself watching these games. Baseball. All right, time for basketball. Time for next baseball. Like it was back to back.
Full day of nonstop, stressful great games.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and dive in and recap these games really quickly. Friday night, Arkansas opens the series with a win 5-4. This is the game we found out that there was going to be a doubleheader that happened yesterday. First game, Geckel gets to start 5 2/3 innings for him. 8 hits allowed, 2 runs, both those earned. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts across 90 pitches. Cole Gibbler came in on relief for the final 3 1/3. 3 hits allowed for him, 2 runs, both of those earned as well. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts across 53 pitches. We saw them go back to the Geckel-Gibbler combo in the opener for SEC play.
Yeah, I mean, Geckel, I thought it was his best outing that, of the year. When you shut down a lineup like that, it really hasn't been shut down at all this year. And he really pitched really well. It didn't really strike a lot of people out, but he kept guys off balance. And Gibbler comes in, does really well until they got a hold of one. There were 2 outs in the 9th inning and tied the game, but he still pitched well. And just to hold that team to 4 runs, pretty much 2 runs until that last out there in the 9th inning. But just amazing pitching.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the big thing is it's like you had this team that we knew in Mississippi State coming in, we talked about on one of the shows where they put up 26 runs, I believe it was against Lipscomb. And
26-0 in 7 innings.
So, you're like, they know how to do some damage. And so for Gackle and Gibler to come in and kind of just, to your point, Hobbs, kind of not shut them down, but minimize what they could do and limit it to 4 runs. But as you flip over to the offensive side of things, this is where a decent amount of shakeup happened going into this game. Of course, you wanted to try to figure out something for that left side of the infield that we talked about. It's kind of been your weak spot. Instead of just tweaking 1 or 2 pieces, Dave said, give me this box and let's shake it all up and see what happens. And, you look at the lineup card, Ruiz and left, no change there. Kojal played short. You had Rutenbar playing first, Robinette playing third, Souza playing second. And man, just a change that I did not see coming. I saw the lineup card come out and I was like, okay, so this is how we're going to do this. And sure enough, not bad defensively. I mean, you saw in terms of the bottom of the order, you had Souza batting at the bottom, 2 for 3 in game 1, scored a run, scored an RBI. But still, those guys that came in, Rutenbar, 0 for 3, we haven't really seen that from him this season. He's been a guy that usually can come in, take those walks, or, at least get a hit. And then, your other across the board, Zach Stewart, 1 for 4. And of course, he had that big home run along with later in the game, the substitution at third that shifted Robinette back to first. TJ Pompey, of all people, to win the game for Arkansas. Like, this was just, I was at the game with some buddies and, Mississippi State tied the game up and I'm like, all right, here we go. Sure enough, who comes up to bat? And I said, watch this. I said, watch Pompey be the guy of all people to walk this off. And what does he do? He just sends a bomb to center field, left center field, or right center field. And, incredible play by him. Earned himself some more playing time with that. But overall, what did you think about the shift in the roster and everything like that, Hobbs?
I loved it. I talked a little bit about this before, that there was a slight chance that one of those moves could be Robinette going to third. I didn't know that it would be Rudenbar at first, but really didn't. He really gave Dave Van Horn a hard decision to make because of how well he was hitting the ball compared to nobody else hitting the ball. And then you saw Souza at second. That's not a surprise because we know he could play that position. And Cozell at short, it was either going to be him or Souza playing short or Pompey. And Pompey's was making some errors when he played the position at short. So he decided to put Kozel there, and he actually played pretty decent at short this weekend. But it sent a message to the entire team. Hey, you're going to have to start playing.
Right.
You don't have a choice to sit here and strike out every at bat, which was what was happening. And old boy Pompey, he got the message received because he sent one out to center field and won the game. So, and played pretty well.
That was much needed for him too.
Yes.
It was needed for us as well. But more so just for Pompey as a whole. That was big for him. And, if you can get one of those three, Brumbaugh, Souza, and Pompey, if you can get one of them batting and doing good and feeling more confident, it's just going to help so much more. So that was definitely big to see from him.
I mean, and we saw it this weekend. Do you think Kojal at short, Souza at second, something more permanent that we're going to start seeing until things change, like in terms of, guys playing better?
Yeah, I think when you beat the number – sorry, this thing keeps going off. I think when you beat the number 3 team in the country, you're going to set with what worked. So
right.
I think this is what's going to be the case moving forward, especially with Pompey Pompey having the weekend that he had, I mean, we saw the athleticism on full display. He jumps and catches a ball like he jumped like 5 feet in the air to rob a potential double to score multiple runs, and he hit a ball off the wall and was just scooting around the bases. I mean, fast as can be. So, I mean, that was the guy that we thought we were going to get from Texas Tech, and if we can have him going, and then Souza had a couple of good games. So to get those guys going is huge. And really, Kozel and Helfrich both hit balls that should have left the yard if it wasn't for the wind. And I think in May, those balls are going to leave the yard. So I think we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. And so you jump over to the doubleheader yesterday, games 1, 2, and 3 of the series. Game 2, Mississippi State wins that one 7-2 to force the rubber match later on yesterday. Hunter Dietz got the start in this game, 4 2/3 for him. 4 hits allowed, 5 runs, all 5 of those being earned, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts across 95 pitches. Tate McGuire comes in for 3 1/3 innings of relief, 4 hits, 2 runs, both those being earned for him, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts across 54 pitches. And Cooper Dossett closes the final inning and gets no runs, no hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout across 13 pitches to finish this one out where, they came out and Valencia's, Mississippi State's pitcher, was, had really solid 7 innings, great stuff from him, and kind of, had our hitters struggling.
Yeah, he shut us down. That was probably their best pitcher performance out of the whole weekend was Valencia. So I thought Dietz pitched probably the best out of the 3 pitchers. He got squeezed by the umpire there. All of a sudden, in the 3rd inning, the umpire started calling pitches that he was calling before, balls instead of strikes, and it threw Dietz off. So, and then when you strike one of the best hitters out on a pitch, when you strike one of the best hitters out on a breaking ball pitch that fooled him, and he sat there and looked at it, and then you don't call it a strike, and then you're forced to throw a ball down the middle on a full count, and that's what changed the game. When he hit the 3-run homer in the bullpen, it changed the game because you kind of felt that those 2 pitchers were dialed in, locked in for a pitcher's duel, and that really changed the momentum of the game, and we couldn't recover from that.
Yeah. And then offensively, like you said, Valencia's kind of shut this Arkansas offense down, very minimum. You only had 3 different guys get a hit in this game. You had Helfrich have 2 hits. Eloy had 1. So 4 guys have hits. Helfrich had 2. Eloy had 1. Pompey had 2. And Souza had 1. Other than that, everybody else was over at the plate.
Yeah, man. Ryder Helfrich, man, he was hitting every at bat yesterday, was hitting the balls all over the place, rockets. And like I said, on a normal day where the wind's not just making balls die out there, he probably hits 3 or 4 home runs in that doubleheader day. I mean, he was really locked in at the plate, and he came up big in the next game we're going to talk about too.
Yeah. And as you jump to game 3, which was much more of an exciting game, especially late into it, where you had Arkansas took the game 7-3. It was a much tighter game for a majority of the game until you got to the 8th inning when things got a little bit more exciting if you were an Arkansas fan. But pitching for this game, you definitely saw a lot more arms in this one trying to close it out. Colin Fisher got the start in this one, 4 2/3 for him. 4 hits, 3 runs, all 3 of those runs earned. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts across 85 pitches. Steele Eves comes in for 2 innings of relief, no hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts for him across 25 pitches. Parker Coyle comes in for 2/3 of an inning, matchup based with him coming in, 1 strikeout across 9 pitches. Jackson Kircher comes in, allows 1 hit. And then Ethan McVane comes in to close things out for the final 1 2/3. He allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts across 32 pitches.
Yeah, I mean, I think having McGuire go as long as he did in game 2 really set our bullpen up to play matchups against that offense in game 3, because our bullpen strength showed in that game big time to shut that team down. I mean, still Eves could have kept going. He only threw like 20 pitches, but at that point you had the top of their order with back-to-back lefties coming up. Then he went and got Cole, which was a huge get when you got a lefty like him to come out of the pen. So,
Right.
It's just, man, I don't know how you can win this series and then have the pitching be as dominant as it was and not have confidence that this team's going to really be able to compete with anybody, because the offense hadn't gotten going yet. So when they get going the way their potential is, the sky is the limit. If we can avoid some injuries for pitching, there's also a guy that may be pitching that's really good too coming in May. So, I mean, this bullpen, I don't remember a year we've been this deep in the bullpen.
Yeah. Then offensively, like I said, it was a pretty game tight throughout the game. Mississippi State jumped out to a quick 3-0 lead. Arkansas gets 2 runs back in the third. They tied up in the 5th at 3-3. And then, you have pitching back and forth until, like I said, the 8th inning when Arkansas puts up 4 additional runs on the board. But if you look offensively in this game, Damian Reeves went 2 for 4 with a run scored. Also took a walk. You had Kojal 0 for 4, but also took a walk. Ryder Helfrich 1 for 3, scored 2 RBIs, two walks for him as well. Stewart 0 for 2, drew a walk. And then you had some substitutions towards the end of this game. You had Landon Schaefer come in, score a run. You had Carter Rutenbar get substituted in as a pitch hitter. Keel Loy 0 for 3 on the day. Carson Birnbaugh didn't hit at one point, which was a surprise to me. But at this point, I think you had the game kind of in hand already, and just wanted to get him back out there to see if you could. They had him coming in a bunt type situation anyway. And then you had Christian Turner come in and play right. Micah New 2 for 4, had a great game in this one. 1 RBI for him, 1 run. Reese Robinette 0 for 3, scores a run, has a walk. TJ Pompey 1 for 4 in this game, scored a run, scored an RBI. And then Nolan Souza 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, draws a walk. So you got some guys going in this one. You saw Pompey kind of get back in this lineup after, the late game heroics in game 1. Back at third base, you saw Souza still at second. Like Hobbs said, when you beat the number 3 team in the country, you're not going to change your lineup too much. And so, for these other 2 games, of course, you had Robinette shifted back over to first base, more of where he naturally played most, in the year last year in this season. So, but, you got to think this is a step in the right direction, especially after the people getting ready to hit the panic button after losing 2 games to Stetson last weekend. And then they're like, here comes, Mississippi State in the bomb. But, no Hobbs on Thursday, but with Zane and I talking with Matt, he called it. He said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Arkansas take 2 of 3 in bomb. And so,
one thing to not worry too much about, one of your losses was to Arkansas State, who I believe, did they take the series from Southern Miss?
Yes, they did.
So, okay, that's not a bad loss. Then that just shows right there they're going to be legit. So,
right. And UT August won the series against a ranked team as well. So
again, that's 2 games, 2 different teams where we might have been stressing a little bit, but now look, it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have been stressing too much. So
yeah, I've been saying this
things. That came to mind. Listen, I was like, hang on now. I believe that happened as well. So maybe hit the brakes on some of this. Those are better teams than we thought.
Yeah, I've been saying this all along. Our schedule has not been easy. We haven't really played a cupcake opponent.
No.
So we might get our first one here in the midweek. But even then, it's going to be cold weather. So we'll see. But, yeah, the only thing I think Brumbaugh will not see any more time in the SEC play unless something drastically changes, or we have an injury. I think you'll probably see him in the midweek to try to get something going. Also, Landon Schaefer, I'm excited to see him. I think him pitch running means you might see him play a game or two in the midweek coming up. So we'll see. Yeah, but we need Kihio Aloy to get going. He's hitting the ball on the ground almost every at bat, and he's got to fix something with the swing. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm sure they're going to be working on it.
Yeah. And so, going forward, Arkansas has coming up this next week. They have a couple midweek games versus Northern Colorado on Tuesday, 6 o'clock start time, Wednesday, 3 o'clock start time. Then they will finally leave Baum, head on the road to South Carolina. South Carolina swept this past weekend by Florida.
I don't think they scored but like one run the entire weekend. So, yeah, they're South Carolina. They might be the worst team in the conference.
Yeah, and so, I think this may be hopefully alleviated some panic fans had, over baseball, just because, with Dave Van Horn teams, you can't count them out. But also, I mean, Arkansas isn't the only team in terms of top teams losing games or games that they probably shouldn't. I mean, heck, we look at LSU last weekend losing the series to Sacramento State, and then they come in and lose the series against an unranked, which, I mean, it's hard to say that because Vandy's always going to be good, but losing to as of now, unranked Vandy team, and currently, they have a tied ball game in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, no, they're up 16-9 now. That game's crazy. The wind's blowing out like 20 miles per hour. I got it on the TV here. It's crazy.
I was about to say, then mine is not up to date then.
No. But, yeah, it looks like they're going to probably win this one. But still, they've given up like 40 runs or something like that the whole weekend. That's not LSU baseball in a nutshell. You think about LSU, they normally have that dominant pitcher like Paul Skeens, or I can't remember the guy's name last year that shut us down. But yeah, they don't have that this year.
Yeah. So coming out of this weekend, pending some other final results, top of the conference, you have Auburn, Florida, Kentucky, Vandy, which that'll be changed all towards. So Auburn, Florida, both 3-0 undefeated opening weekend of conference play. Where is Kentucky at?
Kentucky went 3-0 too. They swept Alabama.
Okay, so Kentucky's 3-0. So you got those three teams, top of the conference. Vandy going to win the series, going to be 2-1. Mm-hmm. Arkansas, obviously, we're 2-1.
Texas against Ole Miss.
So, things are going to shake out, of course, towards the bottom of the conference. No surprise here. South Carolina 0-3, Missouri 0-3 towards the bottom. So,
don't be surprised if we are ranked number 3 in the morning. You're on mute.
Did Georgia Tech lose their series too?
No, they didn't. But when you have a top 5 matchup like that, they normally flip flop.
Fair enough. Okay.
We'll see.
Fair enough. Yeah, they were 3 and drop. I was thinking, I was like, UCLA won, Texas won, Georgia Tech. Yeah. I wasn't sure on, but I was ignoring number 3 Mississippi State that we beat. So yeah, wouldn't shock me at all if we jump Georgia Tech and end up 3.
It's possible. We'll see. We'll be 3 or 4 regardless.
Yeah.
So, good weekend for baseball. Good weekend all around for Arkansas sports. Arkansas basketball goes 3-0 in conference tournament, wins the tournament, lands that 4 seed. Arkansas baseball wins the series over Mississippi State 2-1. Track and field win their 43rd title over the weekend that was hosted in Fayetteville. The only team that, which I'm not going to count them out at all, is softball lost their series on the road to Alabama 2-1. So, they're going to come back and bounce back from that. But overall, great weekend for Arkansas. And so now we'll keep you updated. Once we get some times released for games and whatnot, we'll let you know what we're going to do show-wise this next week, depending on time on Thursday and whatnot. But we'll let you guys know. We'll work through that and see what that sets us up as. But as we get ready to wrap up here, a little bit longer show, it was our Selection Sunday show. Talk through some of these matchups, talk through some potential upsets where Arkansas landed and what their path realistically looks like going through. And we'll break down some more of Arkansas's matchup in depth on our regular show before the game. So with that, we'll get ready to wrap up here. You guys got anything else before we get out of here?
Just my regular. Woo pig always.
Well, with that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure that like and subscribe button on YouTube. That way you don't miss any time we go live. And so with that, we are going to wrap up our Selection Sunday Spectacular edition of Razor Recap. Like I said, it's just hard. It was a great weekend for Arkansas sports. Appreciate Transplant Texan. Good show. Like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Can always count on Transplanted Texan to be one
yes,
of our
we
clutch
can.
fans.
I appreciate it. And the support I get on Twitter from you backing up my sometimes things I probably shouldn't say, but I do appreciate it a lot. So
with that, we'll get ready to wrap up here. The madness will begin. So don't forget to fill out those brackets, join the Hawgs on the Hill bracket challenge, and test your bracketology knowledge, and we'll see who comes out on top of that. Games start on Thursday. I know Zane's pointing to himself, but we'll just have to see about that. So games start on Thursday and Friday, and it's just we're going to have a great weekend of basketball starting this weekend. So everybody have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. We'll be back with you next week for during the week with our regular show. We'll let you know time and what that's going to look like once we figure out times for Arkansas basketball on Thursday. So with that, from Zane, Hobbs, myself, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon, and we'll see you during the week.